A woman is out by herself early one morning on an empty street when two men begin to stalk her. How could God possibly save her? You're going to find out next on this episode of Better Life Today. Hello and welcome to this episode of Better Life Today. We're doing another Stories of Faith program, which we love to do so much. And with me, as always, is Sayudi Rodriguez. Sayudi, are you there?
Yes,
You are
hello.
joining us from your home in Roseburg, and I am here in the studio in Grants Pass. And
Mhm.
this way, through the time we're recording this during the COVID time, this allows us to still do stories about God's providential care for his people, and it gives us a chance to glorify the Lord through these stories. And you know, Sayudi, one of the last times we were together, we asked people to let us know where they were watching from. And you know, we got an email from a lady in France. We have a new
Mm,
friend in France. So that was great. So, friends, if you
nice.
want to contact us as well, you can just go to our webpage. It's blbn.org. That's blbn.org. And on there, you'll find a place where you can send us a message. We also have a Facebook page under Stories of Faith, and you can send us messages through Facebook as well. We'd love to hear from you. Saidi, did you hear from anyone recently that you'd like to share?
I did. I had through Facebook
Uh-huh.
Messenger, we got an email from somebody that we don't know and or that we've never met. Mirushka is her name,
Ah.
and at first I was not sure if I should open it, but I went ahead and it said, "Hi, my name is Mirushka," and she said that she watches Stories of Faith all the time, that she loves it and she loves the programs. She wants to meet us. She is in Massachusetts.
Oh.
And so, hello, Mirushka, and hopefully one day we get to meet you.
Yes. I love Massachusetts. I was there during the time that the leaves were changing,
Oh,
which brings me
beautiful.
to the topic I wanted to share next. And that is during the time of this recording, it's fall. It's fall here in Southern Oregon. And I was thinking, you know, there's people from around the world that watch this program, and maybe you don't know what fall can look like in Southern Oregon. So I wanted to share this video with you. Here's a video showing you some of the scenes that you would see if you were visiting Southern Oregon in the fall.
Mm.
It's just a time when God lights up the cities because a lot of the trees that change color are in the small towns, and it's just
Hmm.
so beautiful. It's a time
Yes.
when God puts on this show for us. You know, summertime's coming towards an end. It's getting cooler. People are thinking about the food coming in from harvest, and they're thinking about spending more time with family.
Wow.
And it's a pleasant time of year, and
Mm.
it's just nice. And I'm so glad that we live in an area where the leaves do change on a lot of the trees, not all the trees, but a lot of the trees you'll find, and it just gives us such
Hmm.
bright colors for a short time. Saidi, what do you like about fall?
During the fall, we usually make a bucket list of different things that we want to do, and jumping on the leaves, or
Yeah,
what is it, pumpkin patch?
going to the
Uh,
pumpkin patch. Yeah,
yeah, going to the pumpkin patch and just memories, remembering what God has done, and just it's a very cozy time.
yeah,
Family and friends coming together. It's very beautiful.
yeah. So, friends, I hope that wherever you are, whatever season you happen to be enjoying right now, that you are enjoying it and that it's nice where you live. Sayudi, our topic of the day, the theme for today is called Touched by an Angel, because several of our
Mhm.
stories have the theme of a heavenly touch as part of it. And we have a text that kind of goes along with the theme. You want to share that now?
Yes, it is found in the book of Kings, First Kings, chapter 19, verse 5. It says, "Then as he lay and slept under a broom tree, suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, 'Arise and eat.'" An
Mm,
angel.
yes. Now, that's a famous story about Elijah, and he was
Yes.
fleeing Jezebel. Oh, big story. If you don't know that story in the Bible, go to that chapter and just read it because it's an
Mhm.
amazing story to begin with. But at this time of the part of the story, he needs to rise up and get some food. So God sends an
Mhm.
angel to touch him, wake him up, and get him some food. So you never know how God is going to commission angels to help you. It might be to bring you something, it might be to protect you. And it's just nice to know that God has this army of light that he can commission when needed to go help his people. So
Yes.
we wanted to share some stories with you that regard touch. And that's the first story I want to share with you. I recently made the acquaintance of a lady named Aliki. Aliki is a Greek name, and I think
Mm.
the American version of it is Alice, if you're,
Oh.
and I think the word means scarlet, this color red, scarlet.
Ah,
Beautiful,
Leaky.
yeah. And I had a very
Very
nice
nice.
time getting acquainted with her. She
Mm.
called and started sharing how the Lord had blessed her through her life. And there were a lot of stories. The Lord has done so much for her. So I want to share some of those stories today. I'm going to start with this first one. And then we'll
Okay.
and then we'll do some other stories, and I'll share some others from her. But boy, I asked her. During our conversation, she said, "I'm writing a book," and I was thinking to myself, "Good, because you've got a lot of stories to share."
Yes, very
Yeah.
good.
But the first story I want to share with you from Aliki is the time that she and her husband, they were in Portland, but then they were going down to Loma Linda because he was going to continue his studies. And she has already had some studies herself. She is quite accomplished. She had her BA in biblical languages and Hebrew and Greek with, I believe, a religion minor. Yes. So she is quite accomplished on her own right. And they were down there, and she took a job in the library, and he did his studies. Well, one weekend, he went on a field trip. I guess from time to time they might go somewhere. He went somewhere, and she didn't know very many people there, but she had some friends, a friend. And this lady said, "Listen, my husband's going on the field trip too. Why don't you come over and spend Saturday night here so that you're not just home alone in your apartment?" And Aliki thought that was a good idea, so she did. And they must have had a nice time. But the next morning, she is an early bird. So she was up, and it was about 6:30 in the morning. It's Sunday morning. And she said, "Well, rather than get up and get ready here, I'll go to my own apartment. It's only a few blocks away, and I won't disturb my friend." So 6:30 in the morning or so, she's out on the street Sunday morning, walking to her apartment, probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 blocks away. She's
Mm.
going down a road, and she described it saying that there was a wall on one side of the road separating to the old hospital, and then there were stores on the other side. But because it was Sunday, of course, nobody was out, and the street was completely empty. So she's walking early morning, all by herself, down this street when a Jeep starts coming towards her. As the
Mhm.
Jeep passes, she looks in, and she sees two guys, and they give her this look that makes her
Mhm.
feel very uncomfortable. You
Oh.
may have been in a place where you see somebody and you get a bad vibration from them, right?
Mhm.
That's what she was getting from these guys, and said, I don't like the way they looked at me." So she kind of kept an eye on them. They went down the street, and here's where it starts to get scary. They turned around and made a U-turn,
Mm.
and they
Oh.
started following her. So she's walking, they're driving behind her, watching her, and she goes, "Uh-oh." So what do you suppose, Saidi, she does?
Pray.
Yeah, that's right.
Hard pray.
So she prays the Lord, "I'm in trouble. I need help." And the Lord answers very quickly, because right after that, she feels a touch on her
Mm.
shoulder, on her arm.
Mm.
She feels a touch. She looks over. Now, she told me as she was telling me the story, she says right now, "I'm only 5 feet tall." She said, and
Mm.
I looked over, and there was this big dog right next to me. She goes, "He looked like a golden retriever, kind of, maybe a little
Oh,
bit of
those are nice.
collie." And she said he had big brown eyes, just a friendly,
Oh.
beautiful dog, it sounded like.
Yeah.
Friendly face. And she looked over,
Mhm.
and this dog has started to walk next to her. And it's kind of like pushing
Okay.
into her, and then kind of going back normal, and then pushing into her side, and then going back to normal. It was like he was saying, "I'm here. I'm here." And he follows her. So now the guys are following her, and she's with the dog. She goes to
Oh.
cross the street. She crosses the street. The dog stays right by her side, every now and then touching her. "I'm here. I'm here." And she makes it all the way towards where the library is, and she goes across the parking lot. The guys finally give up and turn and drive away. But her guard dog, still right beside her, all the
Wow.
way to her apartment. She
Mm.
goes inside her apartment. She looks out the door, and there's her new friend, her guard dog. And she
Mhm.
says, "Thank you very much," to the
Oh.
dog. And then she shuts the door, and she kneels on the floor, and she thanks the Lord for sending her a protector
Wow.
to discourage the gentleman from doing whatever evil they may have been planning.
Wow.
She asked around later on, has anyone seen a dog? And she described it, and nobody had seen a dog like that.
Hmm.
So we're going to have to wait to get to heaven, Sayuri, and find out
To find
what's
out,
the story.
yes.
Did God make an angel look like a dog? Did God send a dog? Did God create a dog? We don't know.
Wow.
But she was safe. And we'll tell
Hmm.
another story about her in just a little bit. But Sayuri, you have a story to share with us.
Yes. I have a story. My mom was telling me, my sister has lots of stories. You should ask her. So my aunt Noemi sent me a couple of stories as well, and especially in regards to being that touch that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt lived in Mexico City when her children were small, and Mexico City is a very large city.
Yes.
And one day they went walking, they were going someplace, and she had her three little ones. We have a picture of them right there. You see, they're young, and I have three little ones right now. And let me tell you, you need to keep an eye on them
Yep.
when you're walking in the streets and there's cars and you just need to be very careful. Well, she was very careful, and she had her kids with her. And at one point, they had to cross a street. Now, the street that they were going to be crossing had 4 lanes. It was a large street.
Yes.
And so she was waiting, and she turned to one side, turned to the other side, all clear, which is a little bit strange because I lived in Mexico and I remember I never saw clear streets. But okay. So she was like, okay, time to go with the three little ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, she said she felt like she was being stopped. She just couldn't move.
You
It
mean
was like a
like held back?
held back, like a gentle wall or something, where you're not able to move.
Mm.
And she thought, this is so strange. I need to move because pretty soon cars are going to start coming. It's now or not, happening soon. And so she tried again and still no cars. But all of a sudden, that that gentle touch of keeping her back
Yes.
was still there when this car out of nowhere just drove by, crazy driving, and she realized, if she had just pushed, or if she had just done her way,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't have seen the car, and it would have been she would have
Dangerous.
been
Yeah.
in a very dangerous position along with the children. So in my mind, I imagine an angel just kind of stopping all the kids, one or maybe there were 4 angels, we don't know, but it was God for sure sending protection for his child.
Oh, that is awesome. I can hardly wait to get to heaven to find out how many times the Lord stepped in. The Lord sent his angels to protect us from something that we didn't even know we needed
That's right.
protection from. And
Mm.
someday we're going to talk to our angels. And you don't stop to think about this very often, but they know you very, very well.
Hmm.
Your
Oh,
guardian angel
yes.
knows you better than anybody, any human person, even your
Yes.
mother and father, they know you. And
Hmm.
I think it's going to be fun to hear the adventures of how they saved you and helped you and encouraged you. Saidi,
Right.
we have more stories to share, but we need to take a short break. So, folks, stay with us because there are more stories of faith coming right up.
Better Life Broadcasting is a viewer-supported Christian media ministry that offers streaming programming via apps on various devices. Please visit blbn.org to support Better Life or to get more information. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello, and welcome back to this episode of Better Life Today. We've been doing stories of faith, talking about how the Lord is good to his people by saving them and helping them. And with me is Sayuri, who is joining us via Skype. Hi, Sayuri.
Hello.
You're joining us from Roseburg. Nice to have you. And
Thank you.
we want to continue on with a story. In the previous section, you heard me talk about Aliki, my new friend. She's from Greece years ago, and she came to the United States, and she's been here for a long time now. And she was telling me, though, that when she was younger, she was attending Newbold College, which is a Seventh-day Adventist college in the United Kingdom. And she was going over there, and she had been raised Orthodox, Greek Orthodox. But while she was there, I believe, she decided that she wanted to become a Seventh-day Adventist, and she was going to be baptized. And in our church society, we baptize in water, like John the Baptist did. So sometimes there'll be a baptistry in a church that's full of water, and they'll lay the person down into the water to symbolize, dying in Christ. And other times, if they might be by a river, like John the Baptist was. In this particular case, she was going to be baptized in a swimming pool, there at the school. So the next day was her baptism. But she started having second thoughts. She said, wow. She said, am I doing the right thing? She said, I was raised in the Greek Orthodox Church, and that goes right back to the early church. She goes, and I'm going to leave that and go to this church that comes from America? I don't know if this is right or not. And you can imagine this is a big decision. She wants to do what's right. So she prays to the Lord. She says, Lord, if what I'm doing is pleasing to you, would you please give me a sign tomorrow during my baptism? So what sign do you suppose that she could come up with, Sayuri? Well, in that part of the world, she tells me that it is often overcast, drizzly, overcast. She goes, seeing the sun sometimes is a rare treat, So she said, Lord, tomorrow, if what I'm doing is right and you approve, during my baptism, would you let the sun shine? It was as simple as that. Well, the next morning comes, and she goes down to the pool, and the students come, staff, whoever wants to attend can attend and watch them be baptized. I don't know if it was just her or maybe there were several, but they go down there, and she goes into the pool, and it's overcast. Typical. And as she goes in the pool, the minister raises his hand, and those of you who know how baptism works, you say, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. As this minister is preaching, she can't remember the exact moment, but sometime in there, she feels a warmth on the top of her head. Wow. And she looks up, and there's a blue spot in the sky that's letting the sun come down and shine upon her. Wow. The sun is shining upon her. And she gets lowered into the water and raised back up. She's coming out of the pool. It becomes overcast again.
Oh, wow.
For the moments that she was in the pool being baptized, the Lord granted her request and gave her sunshine. So I just love to hear that story. I love to hear how the Lord had been working in her life. And I'll share another one more in just a moment. But Sayuri, I'm going to let you go next. What story do you have to share?
So Noemi had a 4-year-old. And
now, is this your aunt?
Yes.
Okay.
And so she had a 4-year-old and 1-year-old, and she was pregnant with the third one.
Oh, boy.
And so she had, this was some time ago. And back then, instead of having, the laundry, to do your laundry, your washer and dryer, instead of doing that, you would wash on, on something.
Yeah.
You're washing.
Wash by hand.
And then by hand, yes. And then you would dry in Mexico. Usually it's the roof of the house where they had the hanging poles, those things.
Yeah.
And that's where they would dry the clothing. Well, that's what she was going to do. So she decided, the kids look like they're okay. She went upstairs to the roof, and from up she could see the kids.
Ah.
And so she was looking at them, started hanging some clothing here and there, and then realized, oh no, the drain, there's a hole.
Yeah. Like in the road? Was it like a manhole?
Yes.
A manhole cover, or was it just maybe a big drain in the ground?
Like a big drain, and it was open.
Oh, okay.
And so she saw that, and then she sees her almost or 1-year-old. He was now learning to walk.
Oh.
And it's getting closer to that place. And she is just trying to get his attention and trying for him not to fall and praying to God, for help. And she notices that the little boy, remember, he's just learning to walk.
Yes.
Had one foot on a safe side, I guess, and the other one basically on top of that drain of that hole.
The open hole.
And so the open hole. So basically there's nothing under that other foot. Now he's a little chubby baby.
Yeah.
And so, very easily, he could just go down. And it was almost like somebody was holding his foot up because he was just so still and wouldn't go to one side or the other. It was just as if he was standing, on ground.
Hmm.
And so by then she's running, trying to get the little baby because how long is that going to go for?
Oh,
At this point, her mind was just like, just I can't imagine. So as she starts running, trying to get down, she sees that her 4-year-old goes to the baby. Now, a 4-year-old could be, you're still not so sure of your strength.
yes.
And in trying to help, you may end up not helping, but
Yeah.
not this little guy. This little 4-year-old was actually holding the baby
Mm.
from falling. A 4-year
Oh,
old holding a baby that can be, moving around and everything. And so when she finally got there, she was able to hold both of the boys and take them back and close that up. And just realizing, this is this is not just, oh, they were lucky. No, there's no luck there. It was God.
mm.
God protecting them, using angels to hold back the little baby from falling to this drain hole.
Wow. I can just imagine her heart was racing. Her
Yes,
adrenaline was just through the
I
roof.
know.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Yes.
after that, let's calm things down. Get the heart rate slowed down. I want to share another last story from Aliki that Aliki
Okay.
shared with me. And we're going to go back to the time when she was attending that school in the United Kingdom called Newbold College, an Adventist school. She had decided to attend there, and she went over and she went early to make money before school started. And I believe she told me she worked in the kitchen. Well, you don't make much money working in the kitchen. And she was working and working, and the time came to register for the school year. She got called into the finance office. The gentleman there said, "You don't have enough money for the school year." She said, "Oh, how much? How much am I lacking?" And he says, "Well, you're lacking 140 pounds. You know, in the United Kingdom, their money is called
Mm-hmm.
pounds, and so you're lacking 140 pounds." And she said, "Oh no." She says, "Well, what happens if I don't pay? What happens if I don't have the money?" And he goes, "Well, you're here on a student visa. If you don't have the money, you'll have to go back to Greece."
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "Oh," he says, "Well, you maybe should borrow money. Maybe you should ask your parents to loan you money or give you money. You're going to need to find this money."
Mm-hmm.
And this was kind of, a hit to her. She walked out of the
Yes.
office and she stood there, thinking, "Lord, why have you brought me here?" She said, "I said it
Mm.
respectfully, but I was, you know how you feel when you don't know what to do."
Right.
And she said, "Lord, why have you brought me here? What am I supposed to do?" She's standing there thinking about her new predicament when a man calls over. He is a second-year student there at the college, and he's a theology major. He calls over, "Hey, Aliki," and they come together. They start talking. He says, "Yeah, I've been spending the summer selling Christian books, and I've made enough to pay off my whole school year. I just registered."
Wow.
Oh, that was nice. Happy for him.
Good for you.
Great. Yeah. He goes, "How are you doing?" And then she said,
Oh.
"Well, I had a little problem. I have to
Oh.
find some money because I don't have quite enough." And he goes, "Well, how much do you need?" And she goes, "Well, he told me that I need 140 pounds." And he says, "Oh." And he reaches in and he pulls out an envelope and he hands it to her. She goes, "Well, what is this envelope?" She looks inside. It's 140 pounds.
Hmm.
He says, "I just finished registering and this is the money I have left over." She goes, "Oh, I can't take this money." She says, "You need this for your expenses." And he goes, "No, I think the Lord wants me to give it to you.
Wow.
So you take it."
Mm.
In the end, she took it. She walked back into that finance office. She went up to the gentleman and she said, "How much do I need?" He says, 140 pounds. She goes, "Here
Wow.
you go." He goes, "How did you
That was
get the
fast.
money so fast?" And she told him the story. And he said, "That is the fastest prayer I've ever seen answered."
Wow. Praise
So
the
this,
Lord.
this young man felt impressed that the Lord had given him this
Mm.
extra money to serve somebody else.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Right. Praise the Lord.
Yeah. So the Lord can provide. Sadie, you have another story for us?
Just a quick little
Okay.
thing. Our baby turned 2 just a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when she's now sleeping in her bed, and we just kind of bring her to her room and sing and pray with her, and then she goes to sleep. But before that, I used to rock her to sleep and just sing to her. And I would sing to her all night, all day. Angels watching over me, my Lord. And we would talk about the angels, and I would say, look, they must be like taller than this, roof, the ceiling. And we would talk about it. And it would give us time to think about, not only at nighttime are we able to remind her of angels watching, but the whole day, angels were there and angels are with us. And so, try to remind yourself that even at this very moment, there are angels there.
Oh, yeah. We don't really understand the work of angels in our lives. We will someday, but we don't. But there was a time when the Chilean miners were underground trapped. Do you remember that? I
Yes, I
think it was
remember hearing of that.
2010, something like that. And they were down there, and all around the world, people were working to get them out. How are we going to
Hmm.
get them out? Where can we drill holes?
Right.
What can we do? How can we send supplies down? All these things were being discussed. Now, when they were down there, Saidi, did they have any idea that all of these people were talking about them and working for their recovery, to save them? Do you think they did?
No, no.
And I think the same thing's happening today. I think the angels in heaven, and there must be millions and millions of them, are all concerned about what's happening to us here on
Yes.
earth, and we
Hmm.
don't know about it. Someday
Right.
they're going to say, "Oh, I was so worried about you, but the Lord helped you and you made it," or whatever the
Right.
story would be.
Hmm.
And we're going to be able to talk to all of these beings that had our best interests in mind. It's going to
Amen.
be amazing. Well, we're
Amen.
coming to the end of the program, Sayuri, and I just need to remind our viewers that if you would like to visit our website, it's blbn.org, and you can see streaming videos, you can find our archived videos, and you can even, if you feel impressed, make a donation to Better Life to help keep programs like this going. We thank you so much for taking time to watch and to listen to these stories of faith that we use to help glorify the Lord. Join us for the next one. And remember, give your heart to God, do what He says, and you too can have your own story of faith.